while, I pulled away from him, partly because he was becoming very, very famous in India. And with fame comes a huge organization. He would fill football stadiums in India, and he was on the cover of Time magazine in India. So I kind of just pulled away because that was getting too big of an organization. With every organization, there's politics. So I wanted out of that. And I just started exploring more on my own. I traveled, studied with other teachers and that. And in that time, I just realized, you know what? I'm pretty much a Hindu. I practice like a Hindu does. I believe like a Hindu does. And in Hinduism, there's no official conversion. It's not like you get baptized and now you're a Hindu. It's not like that. And Hinduism is kind of a misnomer to begin with. It's just a catch-all to many different religions. Whatever comes from India is called Hinduism. So I just pretty much self-proclaimed myself as one. And my spiritual life is very much like that. So I just want to talk a little bit about why personally it attracted me so much. And one of the reasons is Hinduism tends to be much more experiential based. And what I mean by that is it really doesn't matter what you believe, so not that important. You know, getting the right beliefs, not that important in Hinduism. It's more, what's your experience of peace? What's your experience of inner happiness? What's your experience of the divine within you? And they have a toolbox of a lot of spiritual technologies, meditation, chanting, different ways of praying, all of that to help you experience that inner wakefulness or inner, it's hard to describe, just that inner experience of peace and well-being, and enlightenment kind of thing. So, or tasting of different levels of happiness and finding that happiness within. Because in Hinduism, there's not this, it's not like you die and go to heaven. I mean, you can die and go to heaven, that's one of the beliefs. And you can die and go to hell, but they're not eternal. So you die and go to heaven, you get reborn again, you die and go to hell, get reborn again. You know, it can be that's not the end goal. The end goal is waking up to your own divine nature within. And it's more of a mystical religion in that way. So that's what really attracted to me. It was an experiential religion. And another thing that really intrigued me about Hinduism from a Western point of view is I grew up in the 80s, 70s and 80s, and I'm a gay man, and in that time, that was kind of not spoken about much. And all I knew about how religion saw me was they didn't like people like me in the Christian tradition, more or less. And I was attracted to Hinduism because Hinduism is kind of neutral in that point. In fact, you can, I make a distinction between Hinduism as a philosophical and religious mindset as opposed to a cultural mindset. In India, the cultural issues, they have their issues with gay people. But Hinduism itself, if you look at the scriptures, and that there's actually some pretty clear stories, mythologies that are pretty pro-gay. So that, finding a spiritual tradition that wasn't against me was fundamental for my mental well-being. So that was another reason why it didn't matter where you were at. Hinduism just saw that whatever place you're at, just move towards that deeper experience of divinity within you. So in that sense, it's very open. And that's another reason why I was attracted to Hinduism. And a third reason, everyone makes it home. What I mean by that, Hinduism has this mindset, no matter who you are, you got to make it. There's no such thing as eternal damnation. And again, being gay, growing up in the 80s, with that mindset that I was exposed to, I was terrified of eternal damnation. Because I really believed it. And that just didn't work for me. So that idea that we all make it in the end intrigues me. And that no one's lost. And the fourth thing that keeps me in Hinduism It's this idea.